guys, how's everyone doing? Mark's putting on a shirt because he didn't like the way the neck of his shirt was sitting. So he decided to go change it. He wants to look good for you guys. You should be very happy about that. A few people he tries to dress up for, and you guys are one of them. Right, Dave?
Yep.
How's everybody doing? I see that Haas is in here. You're working on the car, but you're still here in audible spirit. So I appreciate that, Haas, and good luck on your car because we know how terrible it is to work on vehicles. I'm just shuffling with 4-H crap, 4-H papers. I'm trying to get ready. You know, we're down to like a month left, so my life is getting like a lot more hectic. And I see that we have Isaac in here. Hello, Isaac.
Hello.
Are you guys getting ready for 4-H over there? When is your fair? I see we have Adrian. Hello, Adrian. How are you guys all doing today? What is new in your neck of the woods? That's what we really want to know about.
Yep. So we've been getting hit with a bunch of rain. And actually, we've been running around because we had a huge
in the
tree
last 15 minutes, by the way.
fall
It's
in
not
our
been
goat
like-
pen. So
It's not been one of those things where it's like, oh, this happened early. Like, this happened like 15 minutes ago. So
yeah,
we went out and assessed the damage and made sure none of the goats were dead. None of the goats were dead. The damage was
none of them
minimal.
got
So,
smashed. Yep.
but we have a really big tree to remove
Mm-hmm.
and try to keep from smashing the rest of the fencing.
Yep.
I think what we'll do is actually try to take the panel off, pop it off before we drop that the rest of the way.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what's new here.
The goats are happy though. They think like it's a gift to them. All those leaves from the tree branches down there,
Yes.
just nibbling away.
Yeah,
at them.
they're super. They think they've got like a maze of food, which is totally fine.
Yeah.
I was wondering why they weren't screaming for food, and I'm wondering if like I've just been like all over the place.
Adrian says Dan has that same shirt.
That's
He's got good taste.
That is fantastic. I love that. So Isaac, you think your starts July 26th. So do you guys run like right up into
The
State Fair then?
Yeah,
Because I know Dairy Goats got moved. We used to be at the very end of State Fair. Now we're at the very beginning. I really want to go show. He really wants to go to a graduation party. So I don't know who's going to win. We'll figure it out. Hello, newbie steaders. Happy Wednesday. Happy hump day for all of you that work. And this is like the actual middle of your week. It's the actual middle of our week. And
hello, Beehive Homestead.
Hello, Beehive and Old Reading Yakofida baby.
Mm-hmm.
I'm excited for you guys. I'm really sorry it was a surprise, though. That has got to be just. I understand the stress that you went through.
Oh, Select
Homestead.
Howdy,
You just found our
it.
channel.
Wow,
Yay.
we're glad you're here.
Welcome.
Yep.
It looks like we're trying to coordinate, but we're not.
No.
Just happen to match. Hello, Brigitte. How are you? How are your cows doing? How's everything?
Yep. Isaac said, in the day after the last day of fair, we're going on a week-long vacation to Tennessee. That sounds wonderful.
That sounds fun.
Love going to
right
Tennessee.
Before you go back to school, right?
Mm-hmm. That'd be about that time.
Feels like school starts for you guys earlier.
I know some schools in Indiana, I think, like
they start later. Don't they?
Yeah, and some of them run during the fair. I remember, I think, Old Boss.
Well, like I know State Fair like runs a good portion of when people go back to school, which is hilarious because like some kids will take off of school to go show at the fair.
Yep.
So I bought it for him. I sure do have good taste. You do. Awesome. You do. Hello, Darren. How are you?
Yep, all is good. Besides
good.
the big tree we were just talking about fell. Missed the goat barn barely. It hit some of it, but didn't do any damage.
It's like the biggest tree we have in our backyard too.
Yeah.
And we've looked at it. We said if this ever falls, it shouldn't hurt anything. And thank goodness it really didn't hurt anything.
Yeah, just bent the little top of a fence panel, and that's it.
And it's a cattle panel, so it's really not a big deal. I mean, those get banged up so easy anyway.
Yeah.
Hello, Emma. How are you? What's new with everybody? What do you guys got going on in your homestead? What do you got planned for the rest of the week? What do you got going on this weekend? I want to know everything.
She says, cows and all animals are doing great. You are really busy with your bees. Crazy. Yes. So we got a bucket up on the counter. The real red lid that's wrong side up there.
Here.
So that's got honey in it. Yep.
Yep.
We got to run it through the sifter one more time or a strainer.
Yeah.
Because there's a little bit of wax in it, but honestly, most of it's all honey.
It's very minimal, but I know how I look at things when there's like something that looks like it shouldn't be in there. I'm like, I don't want it. I don't want to buy it. I don't want to eat it. And I don't want to subject anybody else just basically because it was like our first time harvesting honey. And we did the crush and strain method, and at first it felt really hectic. And like, I was prepared for sticky, but I don't think I was prepared for how sticky my kitchen was going to get. It still needs like a second over, but like nothing's sticking anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. And funny thing was, while we were scraping the frames, we ran into some sections with pollen in them
Yeah.
and tried some of it, and it was actually pretty
It
good.
was actually really good,
It's
but I
tiny.
was very afraid to harvest it. So like I posted to Central Indiana Beekeepers on Facebook, was like, I'm pretty sure this is bee bread. This is pollen, but is this okay to harvest? Are there any like good things about it? Is there anything bad about it? And apparently it's a lot better if you have allergies because you're actually getting the pollen in with the honey, but it leaves specks of pollen. So therefore it is not aesthetically pleasing, but probably has more benefits than the clean purified honey.
Yeah.
So, but we decided we're going to go ahead and hold those back and freeze those frames for stores possibly later on for our swarm catches. One of our swarm catches was very small. I won't go into there for like another week or two just to check for eggs, but they've been keeping us very busy.
Select Homestead says, trying to get back into homesteading in the community here, been a few years. Well, glad to have you back.
Yes. And the community is fantastic,
Yep.
So it shouldn't take you very long to reintegrate into
Jump
everything.
right in, chat along, everybody gets along well. So
That's okay, Adrian. What are you having for dinner, though? You know, that is like, if you're going to mention dinner, you have to tell us what you're having.
Ours was McDonald's because we had to do some running. We had to actually pick up clay
for Joe's pottery project for 4-H.
Which was funny because it was Ashley's old art teacher.
Yeah, like I called him the other day to set up a time to pick it up, and I was like, oh yeah, we'll be down in Mount Carmel. We live like, you know, up north, and I'm coming down. And he was like, well, who's your grandmother? Because I told her I'm picking her up at her grandmother's house, and it was his mom. And he's like, that doesn't ring a bell. I taught a lot in Mount Carmel like you did, and this was my maiden name, and you taught me. He's like, oh yeah, your mom was an art teacher, and like it was nice to talk to him. But boy, he's a talker. He was a talker. But we got a big old brick of clay for Joe to do her pottery project, so that'll be fun.
The Beehive Homestead says the garden and tons of bee stuff.
Yeah, especially around the springtime. I like waiting for a reprieve. Can I breathe soon?
Yeah. Adrian says, cruddy weather here this week. Can't wait to check on the hives next week. Yeah, we're getting a lot of rain this week, which is part of the reason the tree went down because we didn't have wind. Yeah. So it was just
I just think we had a lot of sogginess. It looks like it may have been a little rotted in the center. And you guys know how like, a lot of rotted. There were like roots in it, which I was like, ooh, there shouldn't be roots here. So, and then you know how heavy like branches get when they've got any type of like condensation in them or anything. I'm sure that was just enough to kind of pull it over.
It's still surprising though.
Yes. Yes.
Isaac says, Harmony is acting so much like a buck and rut. She makes buck noises, tries to mount the goats, and is sort of a bully. Yeah. She's kind of hilarious to watch. Yeah,
we always get a kick out of the does. I had Sunny. So Sunny, the one that almost rejected her baby, she actually was mounting other does like days before she delivered and was like chasing them and making the buck blubbering noise. So, but then she ended up having a buck, so maybe that was her hormones kicking in. But that's really not uncommon.
Which one you said just had what was it called, a kidding heat?
Tootsie, which you guys don't know. Anybody that follows me on Facebook, you already know we're done kidding. Kidding season wrapped up like almost 2 weeks ago. But I am a month behind from filming, editing to getting it on YouTube. So Tootsie actually came into her kidding heat. It was like a week after she kidded, and she would not stop screaming. I'm like, what is your problem?
Which doesn't happen too often.
No, but then I was like, man, you're being really vocal, and everybody's in there. Your babies are with you, and it was like, we're thirsty again, huh? Yeah. Like, let's give you a break before we throw you back in.
Emma said, I want honey.
You can have some, Emma. I have no problem sending it out to all of my friends.
The Beehive Homestead said the crush and strain method is one of the hardest to do for honey. I have to agree with you. Took a lot of work and it was pretty messy.
Well, like in all the videos I watched, they made it look so easy. And I was like, oh, this is going to be nothing. And like, we were sitting there watching like the first bit, and I'm like, it's not straining. I'm like, it's just not going through. So we did end up, but I realized like it is sat in a tub in our house for about 4 days, and it was probably sitting around like 60-ish, 70 degrees. So we just got like a blow dryer and just like way off of it, just lightly, like trying to heat it up so that it would strain better. But yes, we know. I really want an extractor now.
The Beehive Homestead said the bee bread is good to save so that I can help boost the new swarm you can catch and help the queen lay faster. Yep, that's what you were talking about.
And
She was
that's
putting them in
exactly
the
what we
freezer
were saying. But the reason
conserve
we
them.
actually took that, it made total sense why it was there. So we've had 2 hives become honey bound very quickly. Like they both swarmed. My bad, didn't catch them. They did what bees do and did their own thing. But I guess I read it's kind of normal when they swarm and there's kind of like a break in the egg laying cycle that they'll backfill those brood cells with honey, and they were completely honey bound.
Mm-hmm.
So these were actually like in the brood box frame. So it made total sense why it was there, but they just filled over top of it.
Yeah.
So, and I was out there, I've never had to shake frames before to get nectar out, and I was a sticky, hot mess. But I was like enamored with like just watching nectar like fling off of the frames and everything. It's been a really interesting year for beekeeping for us. It's been a really busy year for us. A lot of growth in our beehives. We went from 2 to now 5. Yeah, 5.
Yeah.
6 is our limit though, for now. 6 is our limit.
Yeah, till you get caught up on other things.
Because bee equipment is expensive.
Yep. Select Homestead said risk to reward, honey versus sting possible. It's hard for me to make the jump.
I've been stung a lot.
Yeah, totally understand because I'm slightly allergic to this
Yeah.
thing. So when I get stung, I swell up and have to.
And like literally when they start getting aggressive or hot, I tell him, I'm like, go. Like, because if you get stung too many times, like we're going to have an issue. If I get stung, from the reactions I've had so far are not going to affect me too terribly.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, because the last thing I've got a scar now. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, stupid, but it's the way my body works.
Yeah, it's okay though. We really enjoy keeping the bees.
Adrian says pork in the Instapot. I'm going to probably just have pork with rice and a tortilla because I'm obsessed.
That sounds really good though.
And Emma said not cooking tonight. I picked up Chick-fil-A after work.
That makes me feel better. You're like us tonight, Emma. Yay!
Chick-fil-A, I would take any time.
Yeah, we don't have a Chick-fil-A anywhere near us. So.
We had one for a little bit. It was one of the few that didn't thrive.
It was only open a couple days a week though.
Yeah, it was weird. It was like in a strip mall.
Yeah, it was weird.
Adrian said, I think we're really close to being able to plant.
I'm excited, and I'm super jealous of your plants. I saw your pictures on Facebook, and I don't know if it was because I used the blocker this year, but like my seed starts did not like thrive.
Yeah.
Like I thought. They seemed like they dried out a lot quicker, but then I used a lot of, the dogs are running for some reason outside. I used a lot of our own compost, and I'm wondering if like my compost to seed starting soil was off and it wasn't as nutritious, or maybe even burned it. I don't know.
Yeah.
They're doing better now, but like your plants were just so beautiful. I just had to tell you that. I was admiring them and also becoming very envious of them on Facebook. I'm like, I want my tomatoes to look like this right now. But a slow start's okay because we're getting a lot of rain, so I'm sure we'll get a lot of heat here shortly.
Yep. Hello, Patty.
Hello, Patty.
Good to have
How
you
are
in
you?
here tonight. Isaac said, but she is a sucker for a good buck.
Yeah.
She loves him.
They usually are. The ones that act like that are usually like the ones that are like, hello. Hello, Silhouette Park Farm. How are you? How's everything going in the land down under?
Adrian said, I haven't been stung. Swelling is normal at sting site or on stung limb. Time to worry when it gets to other parts of the body.
But his does do that.
Yeah.
Like it will move. And
yeah, I'll get a big like hard knot.
It freaks me out. So I'm just like, get out of here.
Yeah.
I'm fine. I have the full suit, and if I get stung, it's cool. I'll just like close them up and run.
Chris's Clever Craft said, my seed starts were so bad I bought tomatoes and peppers the other day.
I broke down and bought some jalapenos.
Yeah, we have trouble getting jalapenos started. Like,
no, actually we don't. We've actually had 2 or 3 years where they volunteered.
I think you bought the...
I will buy sometimes too, because someone has gardening for a 4-H project, and I'm always leery that we will have something in the garden. Because if I tell her we're going to do jalapenos for gardening, that will be the only vegetable that does not.
Are jalapenos the one that reseed themselves?
Fruit and blossom and fruit. What?
Are jalapenos the one that reseed themselves?
They did, but guys, we actually, and I'm releasing a gardening video on Friday. Yes, Friday. I have to think, but I had a lot of my tomatoes volunteer, so I got tomatoes like in almost all my boxes. I only plucked them out of the boxes where they weren't going to be very compatible or weren't companion growers with whatever I planted in that box.
Crazy. I got stung a couple times. One time close to my private part.
Oh,
That sounds bad.
I don't
Yeah.
need to laugh. I am very sorry.
Swelling could be interesting.
That makes for a bad time, though, you know?
Yeah.
I'm really sorry that you've got all the sad faces after that comment. I did not mean to laugh. I tend to laugh at things I shouldn't. So I
You're
hope
probably
that
thinking
you're
about
okay.
me getting stung like that.
Yes, exactly right.
Yeah.
Because whatever happens to someone else, I'm automatically like, what if it happened to him? And it would make me laugh.
Yeah.
I would ask if he was okay first, but then I would laugh.
Yeah. She's the one that does
Never let him
laughing
let it
at the like funniest home videos when they have the crotch shot.
Crotch shots or children being scared, like mercilessly scared,
She'll
like that high
through the whole
pitched, I am
segment.
afraid for my life scream. Most hilarious thing in the world to me.
Yeah.
It happens in public, and
humor.
anybody that knows me will immediately like look at me, and I'm dying. Like, I can't even. I really try to hold it together for the parents. Though.
No, you don't.
I don't.
Adrian, it's so funny because the starts look awful compared to
Really?
last
I thought
year.
they looked really good.
Oh, Chris's Clever Craft said, but I'm an amateur.
We're all an amateur at some point.
Always
We all
learning.
start at zero. We all start at zero, and some days you have great. Some years you are great at it, and other years you're like, why is my thumb all of a sudden black?
Yeah. Mother Nature's always going to throw a curve sometimes. So.
Yeah.
Right now it's raining this week. Everything's
raining this week, but I've also found I'm having trouble like committing to my garden because I know we're going to move everything. So like the weeds, like in the walkways and stuff, you guys will know it's gonna be a little crazy out there this year. But I've also like tried not to put in too much work to where like if something dies off, I always want to replant and pull for something like for cooler seasons. But because in the fall we are going to try to move our raised boxes closer, and there will be a huge rearrangement of things in that area. Like I'm trying not to get too drawn into it because I know it's going to change.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's a defense mechanism against me not liking change, but I'm excited for this change. So I'm sorry we're getting behind on comments because I never know how to shut up.
Silva Park Farm said it's cold here today. Was 0.8 degrees Celsius when we got up this morning, which I believe is just above freezing. I think. That's cool.
That's crazy.
Adrian said I bought some starts too, just in case because my tomatoes look so awful.
They don't look awful now, though.
There's Michelle from Sweet
Hello,
Pea Farm.
Michelle. How are you?
I got stung when I put my first nuke in. Now I wear winter coveralls under my bee suit when I have to go into hive.
Dude, I'm telling you what, though. Like, Chrissy over from, oh, my God, Paragon Ridge, she commented on one of my videos. She's like, do you sweat under there? And I'm like, I'm going to tell you what, like, I will not wear shirts under my bee suits because, like, that, when I was pulling honey frames, it was, like, no joke, almost like 100 degrees that day, and it was super humid. So, I mean, I came in, I was pouring sweat. I sweated through my bee suit.
Brigitte said it's okay to laugh, by the way.
Okay, good. I'm glad you're okay, though, Brigitte. Maybe we need to wear extra pants, for the next time. I'm sorry for getting stung.
Darren said has learned not to wear tight jeans when beekeeping.
I did that a lot last year, and they always get me in the thighs. Never in the privates like you, Brigitte, but they go for like the thick thighs. Where I'm like, I know it's under thighs, guys, but if you could stay away from this. Well, and that's exactly. I've gotten it in the arm from like. And you guys probably will notice, like, some videos I won't have gloves on. Sometimes I just have, like, the face net on and, like, nothing. I wore clothes. But, like, I had shorts on or I had, like, a short sleeve. And I've gotten it so many times. I'll land, like, right in the crook of my arm and I'll bend. And just because of the pressure, they've stung me. So.
She said, I learned not to wear tight pants after looking through these, like Darren said.
But to each their own. You know, to each their own. I know people that will wear that protective clothing like to the hilt, and I know other people that won't. I mean, there's Bees and Bikinis is a YouTube channel, and I'm pretty sure she does most of her beekeeping in a bikini. You're not gonna
see me in a bikini out there.
Not even a banana slide?
Nope. Nobody wants to see that. Adrian said jalapenos receded themselves. Wow. Yep.
Yeah, like 2 or 3 years in a row, but then we got like a little bit of a cold snap, and I don't think they made it through that. Yeah, we've had 2 years where they reseeded themselves.
She said also, I'm making sure my incubator things are working properly this week. Need to make some baby quail.
I saw that you said your female population was getting pretty low. Gotta keep them girls or else the boys become mean. They hurt the girls, they hurt each other.
Yeah.
Smash the thumbs up. Thanks, Darren.
David Outdoors. Good to have
David,
you.
how are you? How are all your laying hens doing? How's everything up in New York? Have you had any hunting seasons, like for the late spring up there. And we don't really have anything
We
right now.
heard
except
coon
fishing.
dogs out the other night. when
Yeah,
were
but
out
we have
fishing.
a coon hunting club near us, and they always run dogs.
Mhm.
You can always hear them.
Sort of neat to listen to, and that's at night. I like the way they howl.
Ooh.
Yeah. Or what do they call it? Bowing or something?
Bowing. Yeah.
Patty said, sorry, was chopping potatoes for dinner. I'm good. Good to hear. What are
I'm
you
glad.
making, Patty?
Yes.
Something with potatoes, it sounds like.
Potatoes au gratin.
Yeah. Emma, my coworker gifted me starts. I bought more from the Amish.
That's good though, and that's how I feel. If I were going to buy starts, I really like to go to the farmers markets and buy the starts. But I swear, every time I think I'm going to go to a farmers market, I don't get to go.
Mm-hmm.
So like this one was literally like on a break. I went to like a nursery nearby and was like, I'm buying 6 of these jalapeno plants. I have 7 or 8 that are started. It's just my tomatoes are finally starting to grasp and go, but like my bell peppers are behind, my jalapenos are behind, peas are doing great, lettuce is doing great, my broccolis and cauliflowers never do great because I always get them in late when it gets warmer. I need to get them in earlier. So
it doesn't help right now, like I said. So much rain this week.
So much rain.
On top of that, our garden boxes are actually getting pretty soaked. So we're worried about
really. Yeah. But it's because it has been like nonstop downpours.
To give an idea, last Friday there was a storm cell that came through, and there's reports and rain gauges that there was 7 inches that came down in an hour.
Yeah,
like the whole town was.
The town was closed down. That I drive through. They told us like, hey, if you're going through there, don't go.
The town drains couldn't keep up, and I mean it just flooded everything. You drive through there now, and all the fields, like with all the corn stalks from last year and stuff, like is all alongside the road and in people's yards. It's awful.
I mean, it was bad enough. I work in physical facilities, university that I work at, and we were getting calls nonstop. They're like, it's flooding, and I'm like, you and every other building here on campus is flooding.
It's too much water, and
there was nowhere for it to go.
Yeah,
we were already saturated before that came through. So, Bruce.
Adrian said, do I sweat under the bee jacket? So much. It's disgusting.
It is disgusting.
Especially on a hot day. Yeah, you can't help it.
I know. I came in, I like had like nectar and honey like all over my suit, and it got into my hair, and I looked so bedraggled.
David Outdoors. I love getting stung.
You do?
Oh, there
are some people that I heard there's supposed to be like a therapy to it, like the venom therapy to help people get over.
Felt that therapy. Yeah.
I don't, but I've done enough looking into it. I don't know enough about it, but I've heard of it.
Yeah.
So, not what I'm trying to do. It just tends to happen to me.
Beehive Homestead says, I will always wear protective gear because you never know what's going to happen.
Exactly.
Yeah, especially when they get feisty. It's just easier not.
I learned that in fall. Like in fall, you go in 100% fully everything because they get vicious here in the fall.
David Outdoors. The hens are very hot.
Yeah. I bet. Do they drop off for you when it gets this hot?
Yeah.
Mine are just.
David, where is David Outdoors?
He's in New York.
Okay, I was going to say, because you guys are getting that heat wave.
Are you in Syracuse? Do I remember that correctly, David, that you're in the Syracuse area?
Because I work for Liberty Mutual, so a lot of the people I work with are in Boston area and surrounding like Northeast area, and they're talking about all the heat they're getting up there. Yeah. So it's
lots of people. We're getting torrential rains or like the heat has been just like
summer.
Way higher than it should be. So Mother Nature is drunk again. She gets this way like sometimes in the wintertime and then sometimes like around this time of year.
Yep. So. Bruce said, I always have my bee suit somewhere around.
Yeah. And sometimes I don't use my smoker if they seem like they're okay. But like it's right there in case I need to go like stop and light it. So
Adrian said, yeah, they were like dying. The female quail, we definitely have too high of a male population. Keep telling Dan to do something about it.
Did she do anything though?
Silhouette Farm said, I love honey, but don't think keeping bees is fun.
Yeah, and that's totally fine. You know, like I think that's totally fine.
We tried it for a little bit, died off for a bit.
We took like a 2-year break
on other things.
Yeah, we took a 2-year break.
Just to settle back, and they weren't productive for us. So
it was really disappointing. The one we got, and you guys that have been with us forever, you know, the first one absconded, got it through the winter. It did great. Absconded the first warm day. Yeah. And then the other one got robbed
we were busy with a lot of other stuff at the time, so we couldn't concentrate as much as we are now. So we really focused.
And I think like we had a lot of people that told us like just throw them out there and they do their own thing.
Yeah.
And I think we were very naive about that. And I mean, I give these guys some grace. Like I'll give them like 2 to 3 weeks sometimes between inspections if they look like they're doing good.
Yeah.
But I did learn the hard way in the fall, like your inspections need to be on point. You need to be checking for mites. if you're going to be doing mite treatments, there are specific times to do that. And if you're not going to be doing mite treatments, then you're just promoting specific genetics to make it through the winter, which is totally fine too. Beekeeping is very fluid, and I think that's why I like it, because you can do it a million different ways.
Yep.
There's no set way to do it.
David Outdoors said just spring turkey. Turkey season just ended, was all May.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have been good, David. We've just been extremely busy.
Mm-hmm.
Extremely
Like
busy.
Ashley said, she's a little bit behind on some of the videos catching up. But
and I had to give myself grace last week. I took like a week off last week of
we've
posting.
been productive though.
We've been super productive.
Yeah, just a lot of things
Very,
on the
very
list to do. So
yeah.
Where to begin Homestead? Good to see you guys
Hello,
tonight.
how are you doing down in Kentucky? How's it feel down there? Is it
Patty
humid and terrible there too?
Said, this is better on the laptop. I'm making smashed potatoes with butter and sliced all beef hot dogs with shredded cheddar. Fresh veggies on the side.
Patty,
That sounds great.
you're making me resent my
I do that with
chicken
hot dogs too. I slice them up and put them in tortillas with cheese. And I like to fry them for breakfast sometimes too. I'll
You're
pick up
weird.
one over you with that.
You're weird. They're okay. They're great. They're okay. I'd rather have bacon.
Dave Outdoors got my deer head back from the taxidermy. How did it
did?
turn out? Were you happy with it?
Yeah.
Yeah, Joe got hers back. It's
Move your
actually
head.
behind my head.
There it is.
Yeah.
Right there.
So it's like looking at the
Yeah.
front door. So when you walk in, it's staring
It's
at you.
staring you in the eye.
But the guy did awesome. We got to
But you can tell like she's super proud. Like one of her 4-H projects is scrapbooking, and she's like, I have to have a page dedicated to my first year. So I was like, I was happy that she wanted to like share it with people. And
the funny thing was like he ended up being like a strong Christian. So we started talking about that. I talked to him for over an hour about faith and everything, and invite him to our church. So we're hoping maybe he'll.
He seemed like a really, really nice guy.
Share a message. So he said he's thinking about it.
Really nice guy. But he did a fantastic job.
Yeah, he's been doing it for years.
He did a really good job.
I mean, he's always backed up. It seems like so. Emma said we've had a break from the rain, but now it's just hot and humid. It's probably gonna head our way.
I was going to say the rain moves out tomorrow or Friday. It moves out.
David said, "I'm kidding. Getting stung sucks." I was okay.
Sarcasm doesn't translate very well.
Especially in the chat. He did say Syracuse, though. That's where he's from.
Okay.
And we were thinking, hey, maybe you like that. Hayden for political.
Oh, goodness. It's been in the 90s.
Okay, I have to get going. Have a good night.
Oh, bye, Nettie. Or Adam. I'm pretty sure this is Nettie, though. But you have a good night. Happy to have you.
Yeah, but you were saying been in the 90s.
Ugh, gross.
It's too early for that. That's usually
yeah.
And Michelle, you're up there too.
Yeah, she is.
So she's probably.
So it's been humid there too. Have you guys had to? Are you guys clipping goats or anything? I went to go clip my goats, and all 3 of my clippers are dull. Like, what am I supposed to do? So I'm sending them in to be sharpened this week, and I'll probably be purchasing another set. So.
David Outdoor has 65 pounds.
Good Lord.
Man, that's a lot.
Beehive
has 50.
50.
Wow. Yes.
Goodness. I don't know how many
we have rookie numbers.
Really,
we got to pump ours up.
Well, we don't need to pump ours up. I don't even know how many we have, but I don't think we're around 50. We're not close to 50.
We lost a couple, unfortunately, to the rain. Like, it drowned them because it was so heavy.
Yeah. Well, and it's kind of my fault. I should have gone out and made sure, like, at night, they all went inside, but I have, like, younger chickens that just, they like to hang out outside. And I feel pretty good with how I predator-proofed my chicken coop, but when it came to torrential rain, they just, Of course, the only hen that I hatched specifically for that actually came out a hen was in the group. So
where to begin? Said yes, lots of rain. So you guys are getting it too.
Ugh, gross.
Yeah, for sure.
So gross.
What is this? My biogas digesters are making lots of free biogas methane.
There you go.
There you go.
There you go.
Digesters.
There you go. I hate my seasoning. I'm sorry. I wish I could help you with that, Adrian, but I can't. Maybe Amazon. Maybe we can find a new one.
Mm-hmm. David said he'll do a video on a deer head soon.
Oh, that'd be great.
And he said I should do a live chat someday.
You really should, David. Yeah. Like, live chats are super fun. I didn't think that I would like doing them, but I really like doing them.
Yeah. Yeah, we look forward to it every week.
Yeah, we like connecting with you guys.
Mm-hmm. Emma said I used to eat taco dogs, but no cheese.
No cheese.
There you go. What else did you add on it, though?
Yeah.
So was it just a hot dog?
Did you have something else?
No, Emma, I'm sure she had.
She dressed it up to be fancy and delicious. I know she did.
The Beehive Homestead says, time to make the kids dinner.
Yep.
Good to see everyone. Much love, and we'll see everyone soon.
See you
Yep, it was
later.
great seeing you.
Good to see you.
Yep.
Have fun with dinner.
Patty said, hello, everyone. So far behind saying hi to everyone. Yep, you're good, Patty. Definitely. Adrian said, my poor friend is still having well problems. She's on a trickle, having to really consider getting rid of a lot of her animals because of
that
it.
is
This drought
so
is insane.
terrible.
Oh, that's bad. Do you guys have any water stations nearby to help? I mean,
Probably not being in the high desert. And I know, like, you guys have weird rules about water, too, don't you?
yeah,
Being on the high desert.
it's bad news. I hate hearing that. Adrian, I don't think they'd all fit in a drawer.
Yeah.
Seasoning cupboard. Michelle said, we aren't clipping until the fair. The boar's horns help diffuse the heat, so they don't seem to mind. The sheep are shorn and have lots of shade and water. The pigs enjoy their wallows.
There you go.
Yep.
See, like, usually the boars that we get, the boar wethers have horns, but for some reason this year, it was disbudded. I think it was meant to go to Ohio for their fair, and instead ended up in Indiana. In Indiana, we're okay with having horns, but I know some fairs in Ohio, specifically for their wethers, no matter if they're market, like boar or boar mix, they have to be disbudded.
I'm gonna say, can you use some more chickens, or we want to get another blue Swedish duck or two? Miss mine.
I know.
We saw that video.
Sorry, Emma.
Yeah. Did you ever see what it was, or?
I think she ordered a game camera. So
yeah.
Did it
I
come
didn't know
yet?
if she saw it like the next night or whatever. They find like the smallest spots to get in too. That's all you saw.
It's so terrible to come out that in the mornings
in.
too, because it just makes your heart sink, you know. And then I'm glad though that you did touch it. I'm not going to beat myself up over it, because I think it's really easy for us to beat ourselves up over it, especially when the animals that we claim stewardship over end up passing away, because there are just going to be things that happen that are outside of our control. And
I hate the part of feeling vulnerable too, because you're like, great, now you know it's going to be coming back around, and you're going,
we'll end up sleeping with the window open a little bit so we can hear.
Yeah,
but that's awful. I'm so sorry.
Yeah. Let's see. Darren said Brigitte took the meat chickens in night. They must have devoured her.
Don't they though?
That reminds me of my niece. She was at the fair and went to feed her meat chickens, and they actually jumped out of the cage and attacked her
on
face.
Her head.
And the poor girl
she came over to our stalls,
like a raptor,
with the goats, and she had just tears streaming down in this big cut. And she's like, "My chicken jumped on my head." I felt so bad.
They came out of the cage. They get so hungry.
They get vicious when they're hungry, especially when they get big enough to be butchered. That's when you're like, for God's sake, I need to butcher you, because I can't risk life and limb coming to feed you.
Patty said, I put the hot dog slices in the mashed potatoes and I add the cheese and extra butters, and it's so good. Man, that sounds so amazing.
Thank you, David Outdoors. We try to make it fun. We try to make it, and we enjoy it too, though.
Definitely. So. Adrian, I don't know what a water station
I didn't figure you guys.
Yeah.
We have them out here.
Yep.
But I figured
not
you guys
too far away,
because
some of the areas here are actually, the wells aren't very good.
Yeah. We got
because
lucky.
of a lot of it has rock or just not good water tables underneath where they're at. Down the road, they can't get any well water. They have to constantly haul water. But we're only a quarter mile up from them, and we have more well water than we know.
Yeah, we pump a lot.
So there are some water stations around, and you always see the trucks because they always have the water tanks in the back.
Yeah.
Emma said, "My taco dogs are not fancy. It's literally a hot dog on a corn tortilla, and that's it." Hey,
there's nothing wrong with simplicity.
It almost sounds like a pig in a blanket. Is what it sounds like. With the tortilla instead. Those are good.
Mark likes those. He likes corn dogs too. I don't mind corn dogs, but they're not really. I like fish sticks.
Or as I call them, breaded wieners.
You don't like that.
I always come with nicknames she hates.
Well, him and Joe will call things the most weird or borderline suggestive things, where I'm like, stop it. Stop it now. I know where you're going with this.
David Outdoors said, I'm not doing meat birds this year because of the feed costs.
They've gone way up.
Everything's gone way up. So
I'm like, another rainbow. Guys, you were on here last week and there was a rainbow. There's a rainbow almost in the exact same place again because it's raining. And the sun's trying to come out for the first time today. It's good to see you, son. Nice to know you exist.
Fun He's talking about a big drawer. I have a big drawer. It's as wide as my cooktop is.
Whoa.
Only way to do spices for, I'm telling you, I can't afford that.
You got to though, because then you'll have like that one-off recipe or something that you're trying to do, and you're like, I really want this spice, and then you don't have it. So.
Yep, definitely.
Nothing wrong with a little spice hoarding.
I was watching a cooking show one time, and like they were talking about how fast spices go bad when we were watching.
I
and
didn't
I'm like,
realize how
yeah,
bad they go bad fast.
We
haven't died
Yeah.
yet though.
I think a lot of them just like they were saying like they just become less efficient, like taste wise, I guess, or not
They're
as
not as
strong.
potent.
Yeah, they sort of die off. So.
Yeah. Gross.
Emma said it was a raccoon and it's tried to get in the last couple nights. There are a bunch of holes it dug in the run, but there's no way it's getting in that coop now.
Yeah.
Oh,
Those opposable thumbs, man, they do make them some pretty formidable chicken predators.
Yeah.
For real.
Chris's clever craft. My wife called me hysterical one day because a neighboring dog killed a chicken. I thought it was something with our son. When she finally calmed down, I could tell what was going on. I told her, oh, thank God, I thought something had happened to the boy. Don't worry about it. There's nothing you can do.
Yeah. I mean,
your poor wife, though, was all worried about the chicken.
No,
yeah.
It's crazy.
Ashley would probably be that way if it was our goats, too, I'm sure. I remember when our first goat was birthing here, she called me and she was all stressed out.
It was a terrible experience.
Because it ruptured when it was birthing.
Yeah, she had a prolapse. Mm-hmm. But it wasn't like a uterine prolapse. It was like an anal prolapse that pushed out a good amount of her intestines. And that was horrific to walk into.
Of course, that was like our first one, too.
Yeah, because he was at work. I think like doing those IT I was
working late.
Rollouts, and I came home and that was what I walked into. And at first, for some reason, I thought that was afterbirth hanging. So like I was moving her and noticed like she felt really, really cold, was looking for the baby, and realized like that's not afterbirth. That is something much, much worse. And my vet was like, I've only seen that happen probably one other time. He's like, but it's like, it was awful. She died in my arms. That was like the worst experience. I was surprised I kept on with goats after that, but we kept on going.
Yep. David Outdoor says, how many meat birds do you grow?
Right now, we're doing like 10.
For the fair.
Yeah. And 10, honestly, for us, on and off throughout the year, will feed us well with like the addition of, we'll be butchering ducks this year. And we have 2 deer in the freezer, so we don't. Do we buy any meat outside of fish? And we could go fish and do our own, but fishing is more like a pastime.
Find time for us to do it.
It is hard for us to find time to just go to the lake and just fish and pull them in.
Something that we just never both have been like really big into. We enjoy doing it, but just never like strive to go out and do it.
My dad loves to fish. Like is a big time fisher. Like was talking to me at a softball game last week about how to tie specific fish knots. I'm like, Dad, I love you, but I don't care. Like, I just throw the bobber out there, and if it goes under the water, I jerk back. If not, I'm cool just sitting there relaxing.
Adrian said people can pay for a water truck to bring water. Maybe that's the same. Yeah, same concept. I thought it was kind of cheap. I have no reference, like $130 for 3,000 gallons or something.
Really not that bad.
Yeah, I guess it depends on like how far they have to go and everything.
Yeah.
So we never had water delivered. So she had a friend when we first moved in. So we didn't have our well. So they did it, and we give them a couple bucks just for helping us out. It's a couple 20s, but it was before we had our well. Oh, I'm gonna have to go get the dog. It's digging up the yard. So
we have a dog that loves to plant molds in our
June,
yard. June, he's taught her a bad habit. They like to plant bowls in my yard, and they dig them up, and then I step in them when I'm trying to hurry up and feed, and I about break my ankle. So. That's why Mark left, but
come in here.
Yeah, this guy ended up coming and helping us get the water because we have like a big cistern before our well was dug.
You're not doing
but don't even think we got through the full cistern of water, did we? Before we dug our well.
No.
And our well has just been phenomenal with how much water it
We actually had to have it to pass inspection because of course they wanted to check all the plumbing worked and didn't have any problems. So we had to have it rushed.
Yeah.
So he helped us out.
Yeah. He really helped us out that evening. And that was a long night because we didn't know what we were doing. We'd never been to a water station. We didn't know like how it worked or anything like that. So that was really fun tripping through that.
Adrian said, all right, your opinion about upcoming video. I got really stressed and you could totally hear me almost cry over my bees. Keep that in.
Yes.
I was thinking yes.
Yes. Yeah. I know, like, I struggle with that too, Adrian, but like people need to know.
Mhm.
Like they need to see that. They need to see that.
Actually, I think it helps vent some of that emotion too.
It does.
Yeah.
It does.
She like felt very uncomfortable with that first, but
I don't like to cry in
Yeah.
front of people. Like
So-
I don't even like to cry in front of my own parents. I don't like to cry in front of him. So like putting it out on YouTube was like a huge step. But honestly, like for expression, like with him or people around me, I feel like YouTube's helped me to be more expressive of like how I'm feeling.
Yeah.
Because most of the times, like I will put on a poker face, you will never know what's going on up in here. So.
But it
Leave it
makes the
in.
video true.
And it
you know,
does.
like-
It gives you like that authenticity, and people can feel how much you care about what you're talking about. And I feel like that helps them invest in you,
Mhm,
you know, because it's super easy for us to get in front of a camera and fake it.
mhm.
Lots of people do it. So I feel like when you have those really authentic, raw moments, it's important to share them.
Yeah.
And you can dress them up and make them look nice, or you can give just like a short little glimpse of it. And, you know, there's a lot of ways to edit
I mean,
it, but leave it.
recently with her duck, you could see
Yeah,
some
you
emotion
can feel
there.
that emotion there.
It made
yeah.
me feel the same way, you know, being in that situation.
Yeah,
So.
it helps people to relate to you and realize
Mhm.
that you're a real person. You're not
Yep.
just a face on the screen.
Where to begin? So we have 50 meat birds here, the meanest ones we ever had. Makes me thankful they're fit. Yeah, when they're mean, you don't mind butchering them. It's when they get all like
Lovey
a
or
baby
they-
and want to
yeah.
lay in your lap or whatever. So
Yeah. We've been
totally understand.
we've been very loving with our meat weather this year that is going to be butchered here. But I've been loving, but not like I'm gonna give you scritches and hug you and kiss you every single day. Like I still love on him and everything,
Mhm.
but like I don't use a name for him
Yeah.
that much. I still call him by his name. But not
Adrian
much.
said, "I'm pretty sure I'll get made fun
No,
of."
you're not gonna get made fun of.
And all
And if
dying in
they
my-
do, then those people need to screw off. Just
Okay.
saying. Like,
Adrian said also, "All dying in my arms is what made me stop with goats. You're so strong."
it is tough. It is tough. That was
Mhm.
horrific. But we have like another one like getting ready to birth in the next couple of days. So it was like one of those like, okay, you got to pull it together because you got another one getting ready to go through this, and
Mhm.
you know.
Emma said, "I think people appreciate being authentic
They
and
do.
show emotion." Yeah, I
They
think
do.
nowadays definitely
Yeah.
they want to see that they're connected,
hmm
you know, in that way.
And like those emotions, like those almost crying emotions, those are really hard to like hold back. And I feel like it makes it even more authentic because I feel like you're probably a lot like I am, where you're like, I don't want to let someone know like I'm getting ready to break, but like I'm breaking, and
Mhm.
it's important. And we've talked about it so much about romanticizing homesteading and going through situations that we go through, especially like we have the liberties of editing what we want people to see. And while I find that super empowering, like it's really easy to gloss over some of the bad moments.
Mhm.
And I don't think they need to be glossed over because a lot of people, especially like now, people wanting to be more self-sufficient with things not being, you know, set in stone, or there's just like a lot of uncertainty that people need to understand. Like it's not beautiful all the time. Like sometimes it is
Yeah.
awful, it is not rewarding, it's terrible, and you wonder why you do it to yourself.
Mhm.
Then you have those moments that balance it out, and you're like, this is why I do it. And I'm sure you'll have like a video after that breaking where you're like, this is why we did it, and I'm really glad I pushed through, and I love my bees, and I care about them, and people feel that.
Yep. Adrian said the meat chickens will be too fat to be mean soon enough.
This is
Yep,
true.
that's
It's
true.
just lay
Lay
there. Like, bring me food, Jeeves.
Darren said, "I'll cry, no problem. Pop on some Legends of the Fall, and it's all over." For me. We love that movie.
I love that movie too.
It is emotional.
It is an emotional movie.
Mm-hmm.
But he can always tell when I'm getting ready to get emotional because so like in the corner, I can see him out of the corner of my eye where I'm like trying to like, I'm not gonna cry. Like
Yeah.
I'm not. I feel it, but I'm not gonna cry. And he's always like,
Yeah,
he's like, are you
I
crying?
break
I'm
that
like,
emotion.
Stop it.
Yeah, I did to Joe too. She'll go, okay, I'll
Yeah.
just stare at her real close.
It
So
was like Call of the Wild, and she was like losing it. Like at the very
Mhm.
end, like when the man dies, and you
yeah,
know, like. I was like, it's okay. I'm sad
Yeah.
too. She's like, I don't want to die. I'm like, I know. It's okay though.
yeah. Bruce said, "Oh crap, I still have to watch Adrian's video."
hmm
And Adrian said, "It'll be Bruce that makes fun." I know.
Bruce.
Don't be picking on Adrian. No.
Bruce. Now.
Oh, Patty makes a good point. Emotions are something that's hard to script and make us approachable to
They
the viewers.
do.
Yep,
I think they really do.
totally agree. And
Yes.
Chris's Clovercraft says, "My brother says, give them the best
Yes.
life until it's their last day."
100%.
Yep, and the chickens.
100%.
Totally agree. I mean, it just gives you a better conscience about doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Bruce said, I
Aw.
mostly only cry watching reunions of family members and dogs, like ugly cry. Yeah. Totally understand
But yeah,
that.
we all have like those things where you're like,
Yeah.
I'm not crying, you're
Mhm.
crying. You know?
Yeah, we can't bring up our first dog here much because
Yeah.
we get emotional
I
about
can't,
stuff.
like, just thinking about
Yeah,
it, like I automatically go back to the last day.
Yeah, that's brutal. So
Yeah.
yeah, that one's a tough one. So totally understand, Bruce.
Mhm.
Like the dogs and stuff, you get so attached to them in the
Yeah.
home. It just,
We have a flower garden over her grave, and I almost can't clean it because I'm like always like,
Mhm.
why are you in the ground?
Yeah.
But that's okay.
Yeah.
She's like my soul dog. I feel like everybody has like those specific animals where you're like, this is my soul animal.
Mhm.
She was my soul dog. I love June, and June is a soul dog in a different way, but she's not Athena. She's
Mhm.
not that dog. And I think that's important too, to like go into it knowing like you will never be this dog. You're going to be your own dog, and I'm going to love you just as much, and you'll be a soul dog in a different way. But
Mhm.
Vino was like my first puppy.
Old Reading stop back then. Why are we crying in here? Did someone die? No one died. It was
No.
we were talking about our first goat that was birthing here,
Yeah.
and it died in Ashley's arms because
It-
it had a bad situation.
It had
at
a
birth.
bad presentation for a baby. That's why earlier today in your chat, I'm like, you're very fortunate
And
that
then-
that happened the way
Yeah.
it did.
And then Adrian was talking about how she has a clip in her, I guess, a video coming out. She's thinking about putting in where she's emotional
her
about
bees,
these.
yeah.
So we were
And she's
talking
asking
about
if she should leave it in.
yeah
Like,
those moments in
absolutely,
videos.
yes.
So,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Bruce said, "I'm crying. Quick, get the camera." There you go. Capture that tear. Oh,
Bruce was crying.
Yeah,
Yes,
that
100%.
was it, yeah.
100%. I will say though, like I have had one loss for kids,
Mhm.
and I'm going to address it in the next video, but like honest to God, guys, I couldn't talk about it. I couldn't talk about it. He couldn't talk about it. And you're all probably, if you've watched the videos, you know, like we had one that just, I'm pretty sure had a heart defect. And when they deteriorate to a point where it's like, this is not merciful.
Mhm.
Dragging you through when you don't have the will to live is not merciful. It is really hard to take on the role of being merciful.
Mhm.
Like mercy is not easy to give when that like you still want to fight for it. But
Yeah.
like I can't even right now because like that was awful. You have moments like that though where it's just awful.
Old Ring said, "Wow, scary." I think she's talking about Bruce crying. No.
Yeah.
He said the tears that one. For added effect, just get the teardropper and add some extra. I can look
For
at
some
it.
reason, I can just see you like with your little ball cap,
Yeah.
like turning it sideways while you're crying.
Yeah.
That's what pops into my head.
Oh man,
Some tears are okay.
I'm sure
too,
that video would
Bruce.
get some views. That'd be
It
like,
totally would.
Patty said, my dog Annie is the one that gets me. The one talking about
Mhm.
her. I cry easily, being empathetic too. If you cry in your videos, I'll be cheering
Yeah.
you, guaranteed.
Most of the time, if someone's like crying over their animal in a video, I'm like,
Mhm.
I'm here for you because I
Yeah.
know what you're feeling. You know, and I feel like that's why it's important to show those moments because I feel like that stuff, grief and that emotion of like just total loss or frustration, we all feel it, whether we want to or not.
Mhm.
And if you don't, there's something really wrong with you.
Yeah.
That's okay,
Christopher,
Chris.
yep,
That's
totally
all
glad
right.
you're
I'm
here.
really glad you're here.
Yep.
And feel free to jump in, but that's okay. That's totally fine.
Adrian said, I think I've cried 2 or 3 times on my lives. I'm a lot like Ashley for sure.
Yeah, it's tough. I hate
Yeah.
crying.
Yeah.
I hate crying. Like, and this is nothing against my upbringing, but like, and I have to stop myself with Joe because I'm like, when I was growing up, like it was one of those like, no, you are strong and you're going to grit your teeth and you're going to get through it and you're not going to cry.
Mhm.
Because like crying just wasn't like something that we did openly,
Mhm.
which is totally fine. There are a lot of people that grow up in a household like that. I am not ashamed of my upbringing. I'm very proud of the way that I was brought up. I love my parents. I wouldn't change how I was raised for anything. But I do know like that specific feeling of like, don't cry because like you're stronger than that. Like I've caught myself with Joe where I'm like, don't cry. And then I'm like, I have to go back. I'm like, no, it's cool. Crying is okay. Like it is okay. But like,
Mhm.
like you're going to have to temper those feelings. Like you're going to have to feel them and let them go because you can't live in that moment. Who's chopping?
Yes.
Emma.
Yeah.
Did you tell them about what you learned about chopping onions?
Oh no, I don't know if it's true though. I never tested
Well,
it.
we're
But
going to pass on
so
false
what I heard
information.
is onions make you cry because the chemical that makes your eyes water, it's actually attracted to moisture. It said. So if you set like a damp rag by where
onions
you're
that you're
chopping
chopping?
onion, yeah, it will actually be
Like the
attracted.
chemical will target the rag and not your eyes.
Don't know if it's true. We don't chop mini onions, so I was gonna
No.
try it next time we did. But
I like onion powder.
we use minced onions.
Yeah, or like the dried minced onions. There's something about those that seem like they're a lot more potent to me, but that might just be me.
Darren said, but those amazing days are so amazing.
They are. I love crying like those happy tears at birth. And I've done it a fair amount of times, like here. Like, or like Mark called like with Belle, and I could hear her. Like I didn't get to see it, but I could like hear her birthing, and like he was telling me, and I'm like over here like, oh, I'm so glad she's doing it by herself. I mean, there's good days. There are tears of joy too.
Yep. Adrian, I'll give you something to cry about. That's what I got. Yep. I think yeah. Actually,
and my parents were
probably said that to once or twice to Joe too. Yeah. She gets just whiny. Yeah. I'll give you something to whine about or cry about. Yep. Yeah. I've heard that a couple of times.
Or we were really defiant. We got spankings growing up. Like we got like the belt and like a spoon with a hole drilled in it.
I think I got spanked a lot.
I got spanked
because I would do the same thing over and over and
all the way up until I was about 10, and then like my sister just started to outperform me and being like disobedient. So I was like, cool, you got this. But like we were defiant children. We would just like look at my mom or my dad and just like look at them like, F you. We got this. Not gonna make me scream. Not gonna make me cry.
Yeah, I think I'm much calmer now. But back when I was a kid, my mom said I was just constantly getting into trouble.
I could see that. I could see that.
Yeah, apparently I started walking when I was only like 6.5 months or 7 months or something.
That seems just so creepy. Can you guys think of a 6-month-old
baby?
So
I was running when I was like 9 months. So yeah, needless to say, I was always getting into something.
That just doesn't seem right, babe.
Yeah.
That'd be really creepy to see.
Apparently that's why I don't want to run anymore, and I probably because I started running too early. I'm tired of it already. Wish I still had that much energy to want to run.
Running's fun. Unless you haven't done it in a really long time, and then you're like, I'm running today.
Yeah.
And then it's like, I'm running.
Emma said, I almost cried in my live yesterday. Had to take some deep, quiet breaths.
And that's okay. You know, that's okay. I'm really sorry to get to be there for your whole live. I stopped in for like 2 to 5 minutes because of meetings and stuff, but I'm really sad I missed it.
Karen said, when chopping onions, I take the tops and bottoms off first and get rid of them. Seems to make the rest go easier. I've seen people do that.
Yeah, I've seen that too.
The same thing. Think about that. Patty says, I haven't heard that one before, Marky. I do know if you slice it, then with the grain and strips, there's less of the chemical in the air. Not so bad. That would make sense because you're not really cutting through.
A whole lot. That makes sense.
That one does, yeah.
See, everybody's got these tips and tricks. That was worth bringing up just for all these tips and tricks. I stick the onions in the freezer for a few minutes before I chop them. It helps. Is that because of like the moisture that comes off of it? Like it kind of is like not in the right state to become vapor? Oh God.
That's what could be fun. Bruce, funniest comment I've ever seen on a TikTok video, not me on the toilet right now having a poopy cry. I laughed about that for hours. It was a really sad video. Oh boy. We watched one and we felt bad for laughing the other day. It was in the parking lot. There was a lady on a scooter trying to get out of the way, and the truck was backing up.
It was an elderly lady, and she was like in like one of the little rascals, and the truck was backing up.
Didn't hit her. Nobody get hurt.
But like, she's like, like she screamed really odd.
But the comments were just brutal on the thing. Like,
it wasn't the video that was hilarious. It was the comments where we were like, oh my God. Yeah. Like one's like, yo, kook, get out of the road.
Yeah. Man.
Like, that is so disrespectful.
But the one I kind of quit laughing at was like someone said it sounded like the paper towel dispenser when it's like running low on battery, it starts squealing. Yeah. It's like, jeez.
It was bad. Hilarious, but bad.
I said, I watched this one guy do a video today where he was chopping onions and crying so bad I was tempted to get like a couple. That is funny. My dad can't stand it. He had to chop onions the other day and was just like, what was that for? It was like it was actually Christmas. It was that long ago. Remember he was
yeah.
And he's like, he was complaining about how bad his eyes were watering and everything.
He was just like,
yeah.
Like, you can't even see what I'm cutting.
Do anything like that.
Easy. It's okay.
Emma, that's also what's with the not me jargon. My kids are constantly talking like that. Not me. I don't know if you said that.
Yeah, Joe hasn't done that yet.
Yeah. She
I don't want to tell him to wear shit.
Yeah.
She's lurking. The
Yeah.
door's closed. I don't like that.
Yeah, the new jargon sometimes is hard to get a hold of. Like we take.
Well, it's funny because like our
What
nephew,
was it?
so like we were going horseback
Oh,
riding
yeah.
with our church, like a couple weekends ago, and Ashley, which is his sister, came up. And she's like, she was dying laughing. She's like, you'll never believe what William said today on our way in. He's like, we were pulling in, and William's like, we're all the Karens. She's like, where did you hear that? What are you talking? He's like, like the old people.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, he was calling all the old people Karens. And then the other day he was, I guess there's a YouTuber he likes, of course, and stuff. And
there
he's like, I got some merch.
Yeah.
Like he was calling it merch.
He showed it to me today.
Yeah.
He was wearing it today when we went to pick up Joe. But like he kept asking his mom because Ashley's like, oh my god, I need to get him off of YouTube. She's like, he bought merch from like this one guy, and he won't quit coming up to me and be like, Mom's my merch here yet? I really want my merch.
That's funny because he's only like 5 or 6. Yeah.
But like he's hilarious. Like he showed me the one today, and I'm like, does this guy do like games or like what games does he play? And he's like, he mostly does like mods for Fortnite, like just the mods though. He's like, I really like to do mods. But like we walked in the other day, and like his sister will teach like does she still do the teaching the Chinese children like in China?
Yeah, I think so.
Where they'll like do like English lessons via the computer. But it's funny because he's like taking over her little nook where she does like her teaching or like her Zoom meetings with him. And like we walked in the other day and he had like on his headphones and he was like sitting there and he's like, I'm a gamer now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It was so cute, but also kind of scary because I'm like, this is what all children want to be nowadays. Yeah.
Definitely.
Kind of crazy. See, Adrian's like, what do you mean? Am I confused? Oh God, I'm still in the dark.
Yeah. Because we haven't heard that one yet.
Not me. Also with the not me jargon, my kids are constantly talking like that. Get on here, Google it. Oh, I'm really scared to Google. I was looking how to take apart the clippers.
Like Google things in the worst way possible. Because
I do not.
Yeah, you do. Because when she was trying to do Scrimshaw, she like typed cougar in, and that
at work.
Yeah.
At work.
And they
I
came
didn't
up
even
with
think of it.
non-animal version, and then
because I get reference pictures. No, it was Cherry Blossom.
Cherry
Blossom brought up some really disturbing stuff where I was like, whoa, not that Cherry Blossom was like exiting out because I was on break at work and I'm like, I'll work on Scrimshaw and I like to use reference pictures so that I make sure I get like how the light hits and you got anybody's artistic, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? But like it brought up some really stuff where I was really glad like I sat where the wall was behind me and I didn't sit like where there were other cubicles behind me. I was very fortunate that day, but I was like trying to get out of there like
here she's explaining it. The not me sitting on the toilet.
What?
That's the not me she's talking about. It's like saying not me when you're actually like doing it. It's like Emma said, not me eating microwave Chick-fil-A nuggets without sauce.
Oh.
Yeah. Even though they're doing it. So.
Oh. See, like if Joe talked to me like that, I'd be like, what?
Yeah.
Like I would sit there and be like, what?
Well, that's what we're laughing about. Like Ashley was like texting something. She's like, why are all these emojis like at the top of your list? And I was like, yeah, I don't use emojis much, but I forgot my daughter uses it.
She'll text her cousin.
Yeah, cousin or friend sometimes.
Yeah, because I was sending a text to his mom. I'm like, why is this? Like the emoji for your hand to do this? Like, why is this in like your top used emojis? And I'm like, are you doing this for like comments? Like, yeah, this or why would you use that? I'm just curious. He's like, I don't use that emoji. It's like, oh, it must have been Joe. Like, okay.
Patty, try Googling succulents.
No. No. Patty.
Yeah.
Trying to give you trouble.
Yeah, trying to bait you with that one.
Oh, Patty, you are a wily one. I'm gonna have to watch you.
When I get through my text after she's done, like it's all emojis like they send back and forth. Like I don't even think they talk much. Like there's not much typing. It's emojis and GIFs like back and forth.
It's very odd. Like, we're reverting back to being cavemen because they're talking through like cave drawings. Smiley face.
Adrian
like,
said,
no,
like,
not laughing at this sad movie. Right? Oh.
There you go.
I get it. It took me a minute, but I get it.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh.
Oh, I was gonna say for the honey, you got the bee labels done, right?
I
For the honey.
did. I did get my bee
And
labels
that's
done.
also the same label that I was just thinking about because I was looking at some of the bee supplies.
It's not like this one, but
No.
it's
You
in
put
the
it on a
shop. Yeah, but I put it
merch
to the
shop.
bee's knees.
Yeah.
Mulberry Branch Farm, the bee's knees.
The bee's knees.
I'm
that's a
buying
good
one
thing.
here shortly. I just need to save up money.
Yeah, we were excited to get that done. That was like one of those things like when we started to dig into like, oh, this might get in over our head. But like the hard part was it was sticky, of course. Like it felt like it was getting everywhere. We were
It's
trying
all
to
over my clothes and my hair, everywhere.
And then it wasn't bad besides that. Like the crush and strain method was a little tricky to get. We actually got the hairdryer out and heated up the honey, and that helped us strain it through. So, I mean, that worked pretty well. But
yeah, it did work really well.
Yeah.
I did find that like I had a lot more on my shirt than I thought. So like when I went to go shower and like pulled the shirt up over my face, like honey
stuck to it.
like in all my hair. I'm like, people freaking pay for this in the spa, and I'm just like, get it off.
Ashley can't stand it either.
Like,
she was like flipping out because she had honey in her hair the other day from
the nectar
slinging
shaking.
the frames, and was like, I have to jump in the shower right now.
Yeah.
It was like in
I was
gonna
go right back out too, and I did go right back out. Like I jumped in a shower, I washed my hair, and I threw it up in the ball cap, and I went right back out because I was like, I cannot live.
And then like there was a couple patches still on the ground. Of course, you're walking, all of a sudden feels there's some sticky hit. Yeah, so.
Well, like yesterday it was hilarious because like we were in there, and like when you start moving around and the honey's on the ground, like you can hear the sticking to the ground. And I told her, like, you are not allowed to walk outside of this kitchen with your shoes on. If you have to step outside the kitchen, take your shoes off. And like, don't let your clothing touch anything. He was like, okay, Mom, I'm not going to. But I'm like, I'm the one that's going to clean it up. So no, don't do that.
Patty said 2 years ago I was looking for succulent plants that put just succulents. I was like, what? No, wait, no.
That's not what
I love the people's responses like when that happens.
And then
like,
Google's like, cookies on this, cookies on this,
yeah.
cookies on this. We know what Patty likes to look at.
Yeah. How did you interpret that wrong? Like it's like, you know, like how you type in a search, you think that you wouldn't think that was the first thing that came up.
Like cherry blossom.
Yeah.
I figured like for sure it's gonna go to
cherry blossom. Yeah, my brother was one time
blue.
looking at truck farm while me, Ashley, and my brother-in-law was sitting. I think it was my brother-in-law. He was sitting on. Yeah, we were sitting on a bed together, like looking at some truck or whatever, and clicked it, and for some reason the image came up, and it was not a good image of it. So
it was a dumper of somebody's.
Yeah.
And it was a very zoomed in.
You don't need to get too much detail, but we all basically were like, whoa.
Whoa, he's like,
yeah, he was not very old.
He was young.
Yeah.
He was like 11 or 12. Like he was just like trying to show something on the internet. And it was funny because like we're all like really close, and it came up on the screen. We're like, whoa.
Yeah. It's like, I'm sure someone planted that in there to.
Yeah, like, oh, some unsuspecting kid or person's gonna come look at this truck, and it's.
I said, sorry, in-law stopped by, but I'm back, and the car is fixed. There you go.
Fixed?
Mission accomplished.
What was broken with it?
Speaking of that, like my truck, I'm sure you all saw the video where the back window was broken out.
I don't know if I ever shared the video.
Oh, did you?
No,
that's
it's
a good thing, probably. We don't want to watch on. It's like.
Guys, is that in a video?
I thought you did.
I videoed it, but I don't know if I posted it. I often get bits and pieces. It was one of my
faux pas of throwing a tree through the back window. But anyways, so we got it. We got the back window in, glued it in, everything. Thought we were good. It rained. It was outside, of course, and it leaked into the back seat. So we're like, great. Now we got to fix that. I did some caulk. It didn't fix it. So we just caulked it again, and now it's finally
fixed.
It's like,
but of course, like it figures we put the caulk in, and then it rained once, and then like every day it has rained, and this stuff needs like 2 hours to set. So we've been like timing the storms. We're like looking at radar, like this one's supposed to be out for like 3 hours. We've got 3 hours to get it done.
It was funny because like after the first set dried, I'm like, Ashley grabbed the hose and like what, and it just started pouring in. Like, I was trying to jump out. She sprayed me with those, but it was like pouring in because like I guess I caulked it the way I did it. It made the water flow back. Yeah, it was a pain. So finally got that fixed up. But that was one of those irritating jobs I'm sure you all have done before, where it's like you have to touch it 4 times before it's done, and you're just like so overwhelmed with
Yeah,
it.
if
by the
anybody
point.
has a life like that where like your projects are like a one and done deal,
Mhm.
I want you to hold a seminar and teach me all of the
Yeah.
magic that you perform in your
Mhm.
everyday life.
Yeah,
because
because
it never
lately it
goes
seems
that way
like
for
we've
us.
had to do that multiple times.
It's like, oh, this project, I am the worst. I'll be like, this should only take us like an hour. Like 2 days later, I'm like, I really underestimated the amount of work and effort it was going to take.
So,
He's licking my feet. Gross.
Trying to get
He
that
like
honey.
walks by and like licks you. It's the most disgusting thing.
Patty said, "Oh, new side hustle: help filter honey and get free
Yeah,
spa."
there you go.
There you go.
You just get like the honey moisturizer like on your face.
I don't remember it, but don't trust my memory. I'm telling you. Oh, he's saying tail lights filled with water. No idea how or why, but I had to rewire it because everything was corroded and goobered up.
Oh, that's the worst.
Yeah, once water gets in there, it just got. I actually saw today where a bunch of bees had gotten into an electric box, like the electric panel for a house.
Yeah,
And
so
I
like
was
where all the breakers
yeah.
were. Someone was like, "Who wants to come do a cutout?" And I was like, and it was wall to wall
Yeah, it was
bees.
totally
It was
cool.
crazy. I was like, "Oh, this is not going to be a fun cutout."
Oh, Emma joined our group. She said we are not one and done here. Yeah, and
That'd
it's
be
like
nice.
you're ready to move on to the next project, and you start it, and next thing you know, you're back to that one because that took like 3 weekends.
Yeah.
By the time we got
Like
it done,
literally, I
like
think
just
like,
a couple hours each weekend, but still, it was
Yeah.
aggravating because we're going back to like, oh, didn't fix it this time.
and I like live in when I think about projects or planning, like I for some reason plan like in a perfect world, this is how much time it should take. And it's never a perfect world. Like there's always a wrench or something happens. Like tonight, we're getting ready to do the live, and I look out and I'm like, a huge tree has fallen in the goat pen. I need to go make sure like nobody's dead. If there's structures that are broken, if fences are down, like we might have to postpone this because we might have to be out here doing fencing.
Yeah.
It just is, and even when it comes to that, when it comes to having to cut and take everything down with the chainsaw, I guarantee I'll be like, oh, this will just be a day project, and it will be in there for
we have
weeks to
trouble with
come.
that. I'm sure. I don't know if you guys have the same, but we'll underestimate that time involved too.
Always.
But you always get those curveballs that are hard to predict too.
Yeah.
So, and then on top of that,
We'll see
forget-
that in our gardening video
Yeah.
because everything went sideways right before we started putting in our garden. That's Friday.
well, then also you get to the point. I'm sure many of you felt that where like you work so many weekends in a row, you're like, I really need a break, or you just start cut your work hours, just start getting cut down because you're like,
I can't.
I'm exhausted.
Well,
at this point.
and there does come a point too where your body and like mentally, like your body does say like
and
enough
physically
is
too.
enough. Like,
I mean, physically, you just have
Yeah.
to relax too.
like what was it like 2 weekends ago?
Mhm.
Like I like Kickstarts. They're not really technically an energy drink, but like I sat down, I was like, Mark, I am so tired, and I was just like pounding a kick, and I stopped and thought, I'm like, I've gone through 7 of these. I've gone through 7 of these energy juices today, and like I am still just like I have no energy. I cannot become motivated to do the next thing.
Yeah.
But I mean, we all do that, but that's when self-care versus self-sufficiency comes into play, and we try to balance, but it doesn't happen sometimes.
Adrian said, when we built the abandoned coop, I thought it was
Yes.
going to take like a day, 5 or more days later.
Isn't that crazy though?
And it just feels like it sets you so far behind. So.
It does. Well, especially because like I find a lot of people that homestead or do things like that,
Mhm.
your schedule is like crammed. Like there is not a lot of wiggle room, and then you throw kids on top of it, and you throw like their extracurriculars or your extracurriculars or
your
a late
schedule
night at
starts
the office.
overlapping.
You're
and
just like, I can't do
Yeah.
it. There's not enough hours in the day.
And we try to also just take a day, sometimes to sit back and just enjoy what we have too. The other day, Ashley was just overwhelmed with everything, and she went out and just sat with the goats in the field and was like,
That's
well, this
like-
is really what I have them for.
And that's
If
why
I can't
I
enjoy,
came in and I'm like,
Yeah, she
that is
talked
why
about-
I have like these is like, but it came down to like YouTube.
Yeah.
So like I've been going through like a little bit of a burnout, like not complete, like I'm still filming, I'm still editing, I'm just not like 3 videos a week. You'll get 3 videos this week, but like a lot of times, like here in the last couple of months, I haven't been able to hold that type of schedule because it's very strenuous. And right
Mhm.
now it's even more strenuous. And I told him like, this is my property. And like, these are the things that I've invested my time in because they make me happy.
Yeah.
And sometimes, and I know you guys feel that. I know Emma and Adrian, anybody out here that does like content creation, you have to feel it sometimes. You're like, I just want to not film
Mhm.
today because I just need to remember why I do this.
Yeah.
Regardless if like the most amazing thing happens, I'm just not going to film today. And I've kind of gotten to that point where I'm like, I just need to go out and sit with my goats and not worry about bringing my phone. If like the baby goats start doing something cute, like that can be just for me, you know? And that doesn't mean I won't share some part of it with you guys, but like I just found like that balance has been teetering for me lately. So I apologize if that like comes through on the videos or that comes through like anywhere. Like I love you guys. We feel very connected to our community, and I want to keep doing it. But like we're just kind of in this especially with 4-H. Like you guys don't see the table we're at.
Mm-hmm.
Like literally, there's crap all around us, and it's all 4-H stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll be in 4-H mode until the middle of July.
Even a hair straightener right here.
Have a hair straightener. Oh yeah, we preserved food this week.
Yeah, we did that like
We sealed bags of
11:30 at
food.
night on Saturday. We just like we're still awake.
So why we were awake?
Let's do it. We sat in the living room for a couple weeks. So
and
we're
just like
ready.
measured out a couple of weeks. Dude, I've had that stuff there since December.
Sure.
I know. Well, I don't mind telling you guys, like the food preserving buckets, the sealable bags, and the bulk food
and rice,
have all been sitting here since like late December. I was going to do it when I had a break from university.
We thought we were going to do video content, but I mean, honestly, she's got so much right now. We just wanted to get it done. Plus, it was good to sort of learn, which everything went smooth first go, which was good. And so I think going forward we could do one, but
it was fun watching Mark handle a hair straightener.
Yeah.
To seal the bag.
Yeah.
He was like,
saw my Facebook. I was like, well, this is the only use I have for a hair straightener because I'm not being
hair. It was funny because like he was sitting there, he's like, it's not hot yet, and I'm like, you don't have it on. But then I was like, kind of snotty about it, but I'm like, what would you know about the hair straightener? So I guess I shouldn't be snotty to you about it.
Ha said I fixed it for the future. It was like 4 holes in the lens.
Oh my gosh.
Hey, you took care of it.
There you go.
I didn't have to do any prep work, would move fast, but 90% of my time is not getting started because my ADHD hates prep work. Yep. But then once you get in, it's just like rolling. That's the hard part for me. I agree, Haas. It's just thinking about it, feeling overwhelmed, but jumping into it.
It has to get done too. That's
Tyson Mulvan, Red Fred used to collect water during rainy season on the passenger side. Hear it sloshing around, turn a corner, and the passenger's leg got a shower. Oh no! Well, you could actually technically say you were hauling water. You could have took it over to. Fred,
I would put someone I didn't like in the passenger seat, like, oh, we're going for a great ride today.
Sorry about that. What do you think?
Why my mind went right there though, where I'm like, I'm going to use this to torture someone I
Adrian
don't
said
like.
we still haven't built our new raised bed, which is bad because after building it, gonna have to get soil and fill it. Yeah.
I know. We're gonna face that in the fall.
Mm-hmm. Emma said Matt just trimmed some low tree limbs that I can't mow under and stacked them in the truck yesterday. I'm looking at the truck now with tree limbs still piled in the bed.
Do you need the truck though, like tomorrow? Because that always happens.
That's when we finally get to it. Yeah, it's like, this now has to be
like
rushed.
The horse trailer. Okay, so like when we got the donkeys back in October and September, we needed the horse trailer. And because the lights wouldn't work, because when we bought the trailer, the lights worked at that point, but like when they stopped working, we realized how Jimmy rigged the electrical was in September and October. It is still not done. And like, we need the trailer for fairs. So I'm like, you have got to get this done. So that's why we're now working on the trailer's electrical. We just don't work on it until it needs it.
Adrian said filming nicely makes everything take so much longer. Yeah, she can agree with you on that.
It does.
Emma said, I felt that in prior, just wanted to be in the moment, enjoy talking with people. It's
totally
hard to get lost, though, when you're so busy.
But and for me, like, I fight where I'm like, I should be filming this.
Mm-hmm.
Or like Adrian said, like, I want it to be beautiful. Like, I don't know, like, I feel like I live in a beautiful place. So the things that I do, I want you guys to see, like, the beautiful, but that means, like, walking the same path, like, 4 times because I'm changing the camera angle or moving multiple cameras to get all of the angles. And trying not to get the camera in the shot at the same time of the other camera.
Mm-hmm.
And it is just like mind-boggling how much we go through to make things look beautiful.
Yeah.
But for me, sometimes it's worth it because I'm like, it is beautiful. Like, I want you to witness like what we're doing because there's something great about it. But it sucks making it look nice.
Yeah. So I tried to get a contractor bill, but he was like, nah, I don't need money.
Poor Adrian, that's so sad.
Patty said hauling water. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Patty likes my humor.
Of spinning things to make them more acceptable.
But sort of circle back around a bit on like the sort of the mental well-being of like working around things and the projects. I mean, it's so easy to get overwhelmed. And one thing, fortunately for my work, they've offered a lot of mental courses. And Ashley's like, what are you taking those for?
Yeah, they'll be like, you need to take a deep breath. And
but
like,
even though I'll still work and listen to them in the background, it's helped me in just some areas. I think it's as critical that this past year has just been a tough year in general with pandemic wise and everything that went on.
Yeah.
So like we were saying earlier, this live gives us event. You're free to talk to people. We love coming here to join, meet up with everybody on here on the chat and talk through things.
It is nice.
It's a nice release.
Well, and there for a while, this was like the only place that I saw someone else's face, like their entire face, where it was just like, I got really used to reading people from here up. So honest to goodness, like when I got demoted and everything, and I trained that lady, we were both wearing masks, and for the first time, like Ohio finally lifted their mask mandate. And I came up front and I looked at her and I did not recognize her. Like it took me a second because I'm like, I didn't know what this down was a mystery. I was like, wait a second, Kathy? Is that Kathy? So like this kind of helped me to like, I can see someone else's face. I can read this emotion. I can see everything. I can read body language a lot better. It was really, really nice.
Yeah.
It was really nice.
Well, with all the projects and like, piling up, it's just so easy to get caught up in that. And you lose focus of the whole homestead process. It's like, we're here to enjoy it. That's a big part of it, And
I feel like with us too, with the projects that we have going on right now, I take like social gatherings. Like I don't like them. Like you can ask him, like I will get in the worst mood when we're getting ready to go to like a birthday party or like a graduation party because I'm like, I have crap here that I have got to get done. I do not have time to give to someone else. But then at the same time, like just because of like faith and everything, I'm like, you do have things to give. Like there is sacrifice. And even though like we were full of isolation and stuff, but now because we're like a little bit more open, but all the projects are there.
Yeah.
I find myself where I'm just like, I don't want to go to that birthday party. I don't want to go here and see these people. I love it when I'm there and I have a fabulous time and talk about how much fun I've had. But I have found that like it makes it hard for me to like want to walk away.
Yeah.
But it's necessary. So like I can totally relate with you, Emma, like in prior, like feeling like you just want to enjoy the moment. But for me, on top of that, it would have been like, I can't leave my house because I have too much to get done. Like I can't give a couple days when really we need a couple days. It's okay to give that to ourselves.
Yeah.
I'm sorry if I talked over you.
Not at all. Haas says it makes you appreciate less stress and this camera work doesn't. Definitely.
Yeah.
I always think it's funny when the big YouTube creators are always like, well, my editor. I'm like,
I know. We've been watching Brandon Fierce. He's like, editor Jim, like right here, do this. And they leave it in the video. I'm like, way to flex. Okay.
Adrian says, I dislike them too. I miss code dates and my best friend. Miss in-person stuff. Yeah, and
hopefully you guys will get there really soon, though.
Like the funny thing is, like I don't consider myself, very social, but Ashley would always be like, when you're in the office, like you talk, people.
Nonstop. You do everybody.
Yeah, I'll just say hi to people. So working from home has made that a little tough because I'm so used to like, I'd get my work done and everything. It wasn't like I was just walking around chatting to people, but like on the way to the cafeteria, I'd stop 2 or 3 times and talk to people just to check on how they're doing and everything. And I miss some of that, honestly. When
he does miss it, I can tell because like when I come home, he's like, let's go do this. Or he becomes talkative. He's not very talkative like when I'm calling him from work, but it's also because like we got used to working from home together. So like it is kind of like I kind of don't want to think about you right now because it makes me like want you to be in the house with me or to like be close because that was fantastic working remotely, both of us, because I could just like come out here and be like, how's your day going? I wasn't calling and frustrated. It was a lot easier. I could like control like a lot of things I was feeling with frustration with work because like he was right there.
Yeah.
Whereas like if he's on the phone, like I will just go off on a tirade. It happens a lot right now because work is very stressful. Very stressful. But yeah, and he's like ready to go home. He's like ready to go out. And do things where I'm like, I have peopled all day long.
Yeah, the other night it was late. And I was like, man, I wish I could just go to the coffee house at like 1 a.m.
And I'm like, why? Like, why would you want to do that?
Just sit in a Waffle House, drink some coffee, and chill. I don't know.
I told him like I would go with you, but I probably would not be that entertaining.
She'd be over in the booth sleeping while I'm working. Yeah, Adrian said coffee dates.
Yes,
we're super excited because they're in the town. Well, I am.
I like coffee too if it doesn't taste like coffee.
Yeah. That makes sense. But there's a new coffee shop that's opening, and we're excited because it's right down the street, and it's
Yeah.
like a finer thing in our little town. So
Yeah, we've actually got a couple
Yeah.
new like businesses that are popping up, which we saw a lot of businesses close here. Like a lot of like hometown businesses closed after the pandemic, but like now they're opening up for like other people to step in and be
Yeah.
entrepreneurs, which is kind of nice.
and it's neat because like the buildings are fixing up. It sort of looks like Mayberry. It's like a little strip of old buildings, storefronts, and they're fixing them up and making them cool new businesses like the coffee house. So
I'm dying at houses.
Alex, the French guy, 15 will honor and make a loud noise just to mess with his head.
I love that.
Hey, if I was the editor, I'd just be like, well, then I'm leaving that in for you. He does it once, it probably correct that issue.
Every now and then I'll catch like weird noises in the background. I'm like, I really try to edit them out, but sometimes I leave them in just
so
because
one
it's funny.
time, like I walked out of the picture. Click that one off. So I walked out of the picture and a goat passed gas like loudly.
It's a zipper fart.
And then like Ashley and Joe both commented on it. I'm like, you have to take that out because people think it's me. Just running out of the camera scene and just ripping her loose. So,
but you could tell it was a goat because like they coughed or sneezed, and it was like a cough sneeze, and like things came out of both ends. It happens sometimes, guys. It's okay.
Yeah.
You make weird noises in the background sometimes. I caught one in like where I'm editing today, and I'm like, nah, I'm leaving it because only I will notice that it's there.
I won't
but
lie.
It's hilarious.
In the car, if I get bored, I'll just make a random noise and see what she does. So.
He calls them his psych test.
Yeah.
And I have to always ask that I pass. Like,
hey, you gotta have fun. So. You're
oh
like,
yeah,
that ain't
you gotta
fun.
have fun.
Adrian said this made me realize how much I do need to see at least another person kind of regularly.
You do.
Yeah.
It is important.
It's amazing how
it is important.
If you keep yourself away from people, it does affect you mentally.
I noticed like the people that not all of our people are back in the office yet. They have like till July 2nd, and then they have to come back to the office. But I noticed like there was one of the architects that I used to talk to like all of the time. Like very nice person, really enjoy talking to them, and like came into the office today, and I was like, hey, how are you doing? And he was just like, hi. You could just tell like he wasn't used to like socializing anymore. And it was just really weird. I'm like, please be like this. Like, can we be friends again?
Yeah.
Please, like, socialize with me. I missed you. But that's okay. They'll get back into the swing of things.
Yeah.
Once they're back.
Patty said, I miss getting together with friends for lunch or coffee here too.
So do you guys mind asking like are you guys like in lockdown still kind of out there? Because I know like you guys are, it's very different from state to state. It's very different.
Yeah, definitely. Emma said, you like coffee, it doesn't taste like coffee, so you don't like coffee. Exactly.
Not coffee itself, but when it's dressed up in pretty sugary things, yeah, I like it. I like it, but it's got to have all the makeup on it, so I can't recognize
coffee this morning again, because I'll make
it.
give her. Yep, I gave her a little bit, but my thing is like she don't need the caffeine anyway, so I won't drink caffeinated. So I give her like a little bit of coffee
a ton of creamer.
And then a lot of creamer. So she thinks she's
just a shot.
Yeah, there's coffee in there. He still does pick her up, but not too bad. So Emma said they officially moved everyone back to the office today. It was great to see them. Love the people I've worked with.
That's good.
That's awesome.
It really is good. It's starting to feel very normal, which I'm like. Yeah. Thank God, because I couldn't go much longer like that.
Adrian said, yes, socializing is super rusty.
Yeah.
You still have to wear masks if you're not vaccinated, but things are generally open.
What I say is, it just depends on who's policing.
Mm-hmm.
We have a lot of us in the office that we are not, and that's kind of how it is in Ohio. It's like, if you're not vaccinated, you should be wearing a mask, or you're required to, but nobody's policing that. It's like in our office, nobody's like, where's your vaccination card? Because like, I don't know. I might quit if somebody asks me for my vaccination card.
What do you Oregonians think about the Greater Idaho deal? Emoji responses on my phone. I think I've read about that.
I don't know what that is.
I think it's like branching out in the separating the state. Correct me if I'm wrong, Haas, but I thought they were like trying to possibly split up the state, if that's right. But
I thought I heard of some.
I saw a headline on it, but
weird,
honestly, I've been like staying away from the news because it's been a little overwhelming lately.
Yeah,
but
the news has been overwhelming. I saw there were a lot of really weird agricultural bills trying to get on the ballot out like in the West, like that would make it like, okay, so like a good example would be if I had to assist a doe that was having trouble with dystocia, which is the baby not being in the correct position.
Yeah.
If I were to enter in and go in and manipulate the baby to pull it out, like I would be assaulting the animal, and I would be committing a felony. Like there's some legislation like on the board out your guys' way for that, but it's only trying to get on the ballot. It's not on the ballot yet, but they're trying to get it on the ballot, which I'm just like, okay, which is like a huge move, I think, legislatively to disallow people to be able to farm their own meats, eggs, meat, just anything when it comes to a living animal, that they wouldn't be able to like raise them and be self-sufficient with them. I think it's a huge power move, but that's just me. I won't get into any type of political craziness about it, but it's crazy.
Yeah.
I don't agree with it.
Stir up everything with that.
Sorry.
Yeah, Adrian said, yeah, Eastern Oregon wants to merge with Idaho, I guess. Yeah. They will split it up. And she said, yeah, I don't see that passing. It really wouldn't change the world. Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. It just seemed overwhelming, like, and thought that could happen. So
I think, Emma, are you talking about the agricultural bill? Because I think it is. It's out that way somewhere, because I shared it on my Mulberry Branch page, because I just had to like sit there for a second. Like I read it and was like, this is insanity.
I mean, it's getting a little overwhelming. Just all the different things coming from different directions. Like I've said before, I got into crypto a couple of months ago. There's already a ton of regulation they're pushing there.
Well,
homestead stuff. There's it's getting a little overwhelming.
Okay, so like a perfect example is like how Elon Musk tweeted and manipulated the markets, and people like, he needs to be. And I said the same thing. I'm like, how can he get away with that? Can't that be considered insider trading? He's like, it's not regulated. And some people are like, well, it should be. I'm like, that's the whole point of cryptocurrency, though, is that it is not regulated. Like that's defeating the point.
As he thought.
It didn't, and that's just Elon being crazy. But
analysis,
we don't call him Papa Elon anymore. We don't really like Elon anymore.
Yeah, he's kind of a little weird lately. Like seeing some of the things he's said, not just in that realm, but outside of that, it's a little concerning. You know, you got these people that have that much money. I mean, I think I saw a news article the other day. Bill Gates is like one of the biggest farmland owners or landowners in the United States. And some of the things he pushes, where synthetic beef is better than regular beef, is very alarming to me. Thinking about that, having a farm.
I can't even get into agricultural, because like agricultural things that some people find unsavory are really tied to a lot of different things that our country allows or is trying not to allow, and it is like a downstream effect. And I just have a really hard time with people that want to kind of bash you for raising your own meat, but then they're also like against like big corporate agriculture and factory farms. But I'm like, but then you should support me. Like, you shouldn't be able to, and they have the right. I will never, ever say that someone does not have the right to say what they want to say. I 100% the First Amendment. It should be allowed. But you can't have both. You can't hate me for raising truly organic and loved meat, but then also hate corporate farming or factory farms, because they're not going to pay the prices, Like, I'm like, you guys want everything for like the lowest amount of money, but you hate the way that it comes about. But it's your consumerism. It's the constant consumption that drives it in that direction. And nobody wants to stop and think about that. It kills me. I could talk and scream about this all night, but I won't do it. So.
Yeah. That's one of those tough situations.
It's like all the young people moving out there, Emma, that usually that's.
Yeah. I mean, it's just tough, because we're one, our side is, we don't want to be governed to a point where you just basically have to ask her. I mean, sometimes it just is overwhelming, because my brother-in-law was trying to build, actually my sister just jumped in here, but he was just trying to build a lean-to on a shed, and it was like only a couple $100 lean-to, nothing big. And the county just gave him a runaround trying to get the permits and then having to pay for the permit and everything.
Well, then you pay taxes, because then the property amount goes up. Then your property's worth more.
And then the lumber was already higher. I mean, it was just like, you can't do, he's like, you almost feel like you don't even own your property anymore. It makes you wonder. I mean, I totally agree. You can't just create a dump and live next to someone. At the same point, I mean, you can't just control every step someone makes,
Everything should not be regulated. The answer is not more government. The answer is less government. And not complete anarchy either. That's not what I'm talking about. But
they have their role. It just it's growing, I think, a little alarmingly. So Yeah.
It's not a bad thing to have your head in the sand over it, Adrian, because like I read that stuff and then you can ask him, like I called him, like, did you see what's going on? Did you see what I posted on Facebook? Because like Facebook is really going to help. It'll actually probably get me banned from Facebook, but whatever. Is what it is.
Yeah.
Hello, Ashley.
I said they have the right if those counties voted in. Yep, if you voted in,
Yeah,
I
if
think,
they voted
how is
in.
it constitutional for them under the thumb of progressive Northwest City? But yeah, if they overwhelmingly have a different side view of things, I really think,
and that's fine. I have no problem using like a judicial system where like things are voted in, but it's when you start trying to push it on everybody else just because it's like it hurts your sensitivities. I'm not okay with that because I tend to scroll by. I tend to ignore. I tend not to get offended. I tend to try to treat everybody like a human being and say like, hey, what you do, boo, you do. I'm gonna do me, and it's cool. You're not hurting me. I'm not hurting you. We're gonna go at it that way.
Yeah.
It's when I feel like someone's like totally infringing on my right to do something.
talking about the act stuff.
Yeah,
that's where
I know.
she's coming from. Yeah. Okay,
I knew that's what she was talking about.
Okay. I wasn't following.
Yeah.
So I said sorry, didn't mean to stir pot. Hey,
yeah,
that
Haas,
topic,
what the heck?
that topic is always gonna stir the pot.
Yeah.
Things, but.
I get more upset when it comes to like more infringement on agricultural things because I'm like, you feed the country. Yeah. And if you don't like how it's fed, then you guys need to be ready to foot the bill for change. My
biggest concern is like, as much as you think that would just sort of provide a chain to follow and everything, but it really seems like it's actually divisive. Like everything's separating more. I mean, you see now sanctuary states for different things. Like initially it started for immigrants, and then now it's Second Amendment stuff. And it's like you're almost going to be. I was talking to Ashley about. It's like you almost will wonder if you'll get to a point where like what you want to follow or believe or the way you want to live, you have to find a state that supports it, and that's sort of scary to think about. Like.
Well, then, like, you wonder, like, well, the counties that hold the capital, like the state capitals, do they sway what the state is? Because most likely, a lot of the population is based around those areas because most state capitals tend to be in heavily populated areas. Heavily populated areas seem to hold specific viewpoints versus the rest of the state, which, I mean, that's cool, but then, like, make it county to county, too. And I will stay in my county. I'm cool staying in my county. Like, I don't care. I don't need to go anywhere. I've got everything I need here. Yeah. Hello, fellow libertarians.
Emma said that's why Missouri is so popular among homesteaders. Right? Yeah, and I think that's where we're going to find most of the homesteading.
100%. And a lot of people like
everybody has their own viewpoint. That's fine. I'm okay with that.
Cool. Yeah.
But I don't like the whole. It's one way only, and that's the way it should be. Yeah. I think there should be.
The wide variety of doing things is beautiful, and I think that should be allowed. I feel like the more we try to streamline and niche people and box people in, the more unhappy people get. And when people are unhappy or they feel like they're backed into a corner, usually not good things come from that. And I mean, we see that in wild animals, and like really at heart, like we are reactive, just like an animal backed into a corner. So I just hate when you try to put people in boxes. Or I'm like, no. I'm not going to put you in a box. Don't put me in a box. Like, I'm cool where I'm at.
Emma says, it's amazing how food has become. I think everything has. It's just amazing how it's just bleeding out.
Everything is. I had a lady at work trying to shame me for putting a grazing muzzle on my donkey. Yeah. Like, she was asking about the donkeys, and I was like, well, I had to put a grazing muzzle on. She's like, what do you mean? Like, it just, like, goes over her face, and, like, so she can't graze. She's like, that is unethical. That is inhumane. That is abuse. I'm like, actually, it's abuse just letting her eat grass until she basically breaks her own body down to where she becomes lame, and I have to euthanize her because she's in pain all the time. So if you could just stay in your lane with what you know and understand and let me stay in mine, like, that's cool. I know we can't share anything anymore. Yeah. And that sucks, knowing you can't share your life with someone because they're going to be so outspoken about what a fiend I am for caring about my donkey's health. So.
Yeah. I said the country is so divided, fractured, it's hard to see happening. It is. And I mean, honestly, like, I can talk to people who have opposing viewpoints, no problem. I don't, honestly, as long as you don't just try to override mine. I know I'm not going to change your idea, and some of them are going to conflict, but I mean, I can get along with it.
Should just be a conversation to help you understand. I don't have to be in your lifestyle. Nobody's making me, nobody's making us switch roles. Like, this isn't Freaky Friday. We're having a conversation to understand where one another. And if you still don't agree with me at the end of the day, that is totally cool. I love you as a human being. I wish the best for you. I'll pray for you. I'll send you good vibes. Whatever it is that makes your life happy and healthy, that's what I want for you.
Yeah,
You should want
the
the
agree
same
to
for me.
disagree just no
Yeah.
longer is there. It's you're wrong or right, and
Steamrolling.
it's based on opinion sometimes, and that's unfortunately sad because it is causing it to be more divisive. So
Yeah.
I say, wishing 20 years we could have moved from a federal to a confederal system. Yeah.
Yeah.
Would confederal mean like state powers, like
Mhm.
individually? I'm guessing.
Especially like with how Florida runs things like right now. Yeah, I could see.
The Western is much more popular than Eastern, reason why Idaho thing is a thing. Yeah.
It makes sense.
Mhm.
But then I worry too, where I'm like all this separation, and which if it passes and that's what people want, then good. I'm glad they got what they wanted. But then I just it scares me because like we've seen it, and history repeats itself, and when usually states start to separate themselves from one another or divide themselves in half. Yeah, y'all know where I'm going with that. The same way that I don't feel like DC is supposed to be a state. It shouldn't be. We're not going political. We're not going political. We're not going to do that.
You keep going.
I'm pulling that way, but I get pulled into it all day long. I work on a liberal campus, constantly having conversations with people and constantly being like, I still love you. I hope you still love me. Like, we're cool. We're cool.
The scary thing though is it's just changing so fast. It's hard to keep up with. And like, with our daughter, we're worried. I mean, I feel like even from what I've grown up, it's so much different from me as a child. And I'm like, how much different is it going to be when she's there? Because it's
changing,
evolving
like
so fast. It's hard to follow, honestly. And you worry what could be happening that you're totally not aware of.
But then that's when, as a parent, you just are responsible to raise them the best way that you can. And once they're a consenting adult of any way, shape, or form, it's on them. And they've got to do it themselves.
Of course, I mentioned Second Amendment, and there's some laws that are changing and stuff. And like, I have to be super conscious of them because a couple of them could honestly make me into a criminal.
A felon overnight.
Yeah, so I'm like trying to make sure I'm following the law. It's scary. Like, that stuff should be more visible, but it's
not.
I almost have to look for some of that. And I'm like, I don't want to be a criminal. I don't. So it's trying. It really is. Emma said Missouri is also county first, especially with the pandemic. The governor left the counties to determine how to handle things and do as a county.
And I agree with that.
Because I think,
every county is different.
Yeah, our county is so small and not very populated.
In Indiana.
You just don't have that large contact of people, where.
Well, and the things that are important to us are different than things that are important to where the capital county is located.
That makes sense in a way,
I kind of feel like it should be that way.
Adrian said, my favorite saying, you are free to say and think however you want, but you're not free of the consequences of stuff you say. If you say you don't like blank, and people who
do like blank don't want to be
that's on you.
And that's totally fine. And we've lost friends over it, and I've gained friends over it, and it's okay. Every person that comes into my life or leaves out of my life, I wish the best for them. I want them to be happy and healthy, regardless as if they rubbed me wrong or I rubbed them wrong.
And honestly, when it comes down to it, we're all human beings sharing the world. And I don't care what your affiliation is. If you're on the side of the road with a flat tire, I want to help you.
I just want to be one of those people that legitimately cares for someone else, regardless if they agree with me or not. And I don't have to agree with them. I've had plenty of friends where it's like, these topics are off the table and we know it. You can still be friends with somebody if you don't agree with them.
Yeah. Patty said, have a reasonable conversation, agree to disagree, and help them understand.
Yeah.
And I think some of it's come from, a person's history or experiences. So sometimes you learn some of that and you're like, wow, I can see where that comes from.
100%.
I understand it. You may not change your thought on it, but you start to understand it.
Because we all experience things differently. And our perspective, our mindsets, and how we were brought up in those different situations and experiences varies from person to person. I think that should be respected.
She also said the underlying level we're seeing now has been constructed in past decades.
Yes.
It never happens overnight.
Yeah, it never happens overnight. I get tired of people like, it should change overnight. Like, it's gotta be gradual.
Well, I think we browbeat them with what they expect to go.
Guys.
Yeah. And hope the best for everybody. Honestly, like we said, it's really shouldn't let you dictate how you truly feel about someone or treat somebody differently, no matter what it is.
And I
mean, that just is going to be a path that will be a detriment to everybody, honestly.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Like Patty, you said, it fractures everything.
It does fracture everything.
Doesn't help anybody.
It doesn't. It doesn't. But that's why we have a community like this, and that's why we have lives like this to connect with people and come together as one in unity. And I know his dad always says it like at the beginning of every one of our church services, we gather in unity. And I'd like to think like a community that is exactly what it is. You're gathering in unity for one reason or another. So that's, I think that's what it's all about.
Yeah, that's right. We'll read these last couple. Got an argument with someone saying absolutes in beekeeping. Yeah. Ashley always says,
beekeeping is
10
not an
questions,
absolute.
get 11 answers.
Yeah, it's not absolute.
I said, yep, being hateful or bitter only hurts the one who is. Yep, hating someone is like drinking poison, expecting the other person to die. Yep.
I've always felt that way about people that get in screaming matches,
Mm-hmm.
or like the person that's doing the screaming, because I've been on the other end where I'm not the one screaming, the other person is screaming, and it's like, I'm really sorry, but like you're not bothering me. You're only bothering you're ruining your own day.
Yeah. And I said, one of my favorite people at work, she's not there anymore, is hardcore feminist, so we had discussions that are respectful, so rarely say,
It is rare.
There's always going to be people with different opinions.
Mm-hmm.
There's no reason to treat them different because of it. Yeah,
mm-hmm.
I'm totally
100%.
with you there, Emma. Yep.
Yeah, and Patty, I will always feel that way. I just want people to be happy and healthy.
Mm-hmm.
That's totally cool. Whatever you do, you boo. I do me. That's all right.
Adrian said, food is done. Yeah, that's a good way to
say. It's dark now, so we have to go out and close up ducks, close chickens, and do like a once over on people in the barn.
Awesome
there's no people in our barn.
Yeah.
Animals in the barn.
Yeah. It was awesome talking to you all tonight, though. Glad to get some time to spend with you. And
we appreciate coming to you guys like every week, and I appreciate that we can kind of take all these twists and turns and go from silly stuff and gardening and animals and stewardship of the land to other things that kind of like shape the value of our lives outside of like the world of YouTube and outside of homesteading.
Emma says she's got to pet the chickens too. You better before that coon comes
I
visits
know,
again.
It's so awful. But we will be here next Wednesday, I think, unless something terrible happens or we're busy.
Well, Joe has a game. When is that?
She does have a game next Wednesday. We won't be here next Wednesday. We won't be here next Wednesday.
Maybe we can do a surprise pop-up live.
We might do a surprise pop-up, or it'll be later than usual.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out. But until next time, guys, thanks for being here. We will see you sometime in the next few weeks. On a Wednesday.
Future.
In the near future.
All right. See ya. Have a good night, guys. Bye, everyone.
Bye.